Hello and welcome to the Path to Freedom podcast, a weekly podcast with the intention to inspire, empower and uplift us all to develop a healing consciousness that we, that is you and me, may forever allow for greater and grander versions and expressions of who and what we are to emerge with ease, grace and spiritual dignity. My name is Daniel Roquillo and I am your host. Hello and welcome back to a new episode of the Path to Freedom podcast. This weekly podcast about healing, about expansion, about growth, unfolding, about allowing greater and grander versions of who and what we are to emerge from within us. My name is Daniel Roquillo and I'm going to be your host for the next hour or so. This podcast, if you have tuned in before, welcome back. If you have not tuned in before, if this is the first time, the very first time you tune in, welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you who have tuned in before, this episode is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be sort of a contemplative episode. I'm going to read a text that is called I Want to Be More Loving by Dr. Howard Thurman. A beautiful, beautiful text. I'm going to read it. We're going to jump right into meditation where we get to contemplate and allow the energy that flows through these words, through the text, to inundate us, to move us, to heal us, to inspire us, uplift us. And then we're going to come out of the meditation and I'm going to read the text again, I think. And then we'll take it from there. We'll be having a conversation about how we can be more loving, what it means to be more loving. So I'm really hoping that you'll enjoy this episode as much as I think that I will enjoy it. And so I'm going to read the text. If you want to, you may close your eyes and just hear the words, feel the words, or you can have your eyes open. It's all up to you. But this is a text. It's called I Want to Be More Loving, and it's written by Dr. Howard Thurman from a book called The Inward Journey. I want to be more loving. Often there are good and sufficient reasons for exercising what seems a clear, direct resentment. Again and again, I find it hard to hold in check that sharp retort, the biting comeback when it seems that someone has done violence to my self-respect and decent regard. How natural it seems to give as good as I get, to take nothing lying down, to announce to all and sundry in 1,000 ways that no one can run over me and get away with it. All this is a part of the thicket in which my heart gets caught again and again. Deep within me, I want to be more loving, to glow with a warmth that will take the chill off the room, which I share with those whose lives touch mine in the traffic of my goings and comings. I want to be more loving. I want to be more loving in my heart. It is often easy to have an idea in mind, the plan to be more loving, to see it with my mind and give assent to the thought of being loving. This is crystal clear. But I want to be more loving in my heart. I must feel like loving. I must ease the tension in my heart that ejects that sharp barb, the stinging word. I want to be more loving in my heart, that with unconscious awareness and deliberate intent, I shall be kind, a gracious human being. Thus, those who walk the way with me may find it easier to love, to be gracious because of the love of God, which is increasingly expressed in my living. I want to be more loving in my heart. So, in that, let's go straight into meditation and just contemplate these beautiful words. Just contemplate love, the love of God, the love of Spirit. And let's allow that love to flow through us as we become still, as we become still. I want to be more loving in my heart. I want to be more open and available for the love that God is, the love that I am, to express itself in us and through me in ways beyond my imagination. I want to be more loving in my heart. And so, in this moment, how grateful I am, how good it is to be in this moment, how good it feels to be in this moment, this beautiful moment where love is, this beautiful moment where wholeness is, this beautiful moment where harmony is, where abundance is, where peace is. This is a high and holy moment. High and holy moment of connecting and communing with all of that which Spirit is. So I'm so grateful for the technology that allows this moment to be. So grateful for the technology that allows us to come together in this moment, in this vibration of love. And I'm so grateful for those who have walked before me, like Howard Thurman, Dr. Howard Thurman, like Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith, like Reverend Carlton Tebow, Reverend Kim Stanwood Terranova, Ernest Holmes, Joel Goldsmith, and many, many, many others. I'm so grateful for their contribution, for the work that they have done on themselves to make themselves open and available for more love to flow through them into the world. For their contribution, for their gift that we at this time may now enjoy and benefit from. I'm so grateful for them. I'm so grateful for this podcast. I'm so grateful for this episode and for you and your contribution to this field of love that we're now co-creating, that we're now generating this vibration of increasing love that surrounds, that envelops, that embraces the world, the planet. I'm so grateful for it. And I'm grateful to recognize that Spirit is infinite love. That Spirit is infinite intelligence, peace, harmony, wholeness, beauty, abundance, creativity. These are all qualities of Spirit. These are all descriptions of what Spirit is. And the Spirit is everywhere. It means that these qualities are everywhere, fully present, seeking to express themselves fully and freely in all of life. There's no space nor place where God is not. There's no space nor place where love is not. There's no space or place where wholeness is not. Except for where it's being suppressed by small and limited thought patterns, beliefs, perceptions, point of views. But as we are now co-creating in generating this field of love, all of that which has hindered, obstructed, obscured love, harmony, peace, abundance, wholeness from expressing itself is now being dissolved. And from this space of knowing that love is all there is, I realize that I, just as you, is a unique and perfect emanation of Spirit. We, you and I, are God expressing itself in, as, and through us. Love expressing itself in, as, and through us. Harmony expressing itself in, as, and through us. And in this moment, all of that which God is gushing through us. As we stand open and available, as we stand receptive, as clear channels, as clear conduits, as emissaries of Spirit. All of that which Spirit is flows through us with such ease and grace and dignity. I know it, I feel it, I accept it, I give thanks for it. I allow it to be because it is. Spirit is. We are love. Spirit is. We are harmony. Spirit is. We are wholeness. Spirit is. We are abundance. Spirit is. We are beauty. We and Spirit are one. God is, we are. God is, we are. All is well wherever we are and whatever we may go through in this moment. All is well. And so I say, peace, be still. Peace, be still, because all is well. All is well. I know it, I feel it, I accept it, I give thanks for it, I allow it to be. Fully knowing that we're eternally sourced and fueled and funded by God. Eternally sustained and maintained by Spirit. Eternally moved and led and guided by infinite love. And so in this moment, everything we need, we have. In this moment, all of our needs are met. We are missing nothing. We are lacking nothing. But all we need, we have. That we may take that next step, that we may allow for the next great and grand version of who and what we are to emerge. That we may allow for the next great and grand expression of what Spirit is to emerge in and through us. And I release the word fully knowing that I need not hold on to anything, but I release it, I surrender to it, I say, thy will be done. Thy will be done. Because it is done. It is done. This word is law, and the law is now demonstrating itself in a beautiful and magnificent way in your life and in mine. So it is, so be it. Amen. 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 All right, so I'm going to read the text over one more time, and then we'll see what happens. I gave it all over to Spirit to guide and lead me. So the text once again is by Dr. Howard Thurman, taken from the book The Inward Journey, and the text reads, I want to be more loving. Often there are good and sufficient reasons for exercising what seems a clear, direct resentment. Again and again, I find it hard to hold in check that sharp retort, the biting comeback when it seems that someone has done violence to my self-respect and decent regard. How natural it seems to give as good as I get, to take nothing lying down, to announce to all and sundry in 1,000 ways that no one can run over me and get away with it. All this is a part of the thicket in which my heart gets caught again and again. Deep within me, I want to be more loving, to glow with the warmth that will take the chill off the room, which I share with those whose lives touched mine in the traffic of my goings and comings. I want to be more loving. I want to be more loving in my heart. It is often easy to have the idea in mind, to plan to be more loving, to see it with my mind and give assent to the thought of being loving. This is crystal clear. But I want to be more loving in my heart. I must feel like loving. I must ease the tension in my heart that ejects that sharp barb, the stinging word. I want to be more loving in my heart, that with unconscious awareness and deliberate intent, I shall be a kind and a gracious human being. And those who walk the way with me may find it easier to love, to be gracious, because of the love of God, which is increasingly expressed in my living. I want to be more loving in my heart. When I read this text, and when I've heard it read to me, something happens within me. Just like it says in the text, there's a longing within me, there's a longing within my heart to be more loving. There's a longing within me, just as Dr. Thurman describes, to not react to what others are doing, to what others are saying, what they are not doing, what they're not saying. But there's something within me that longs to be not only loving, but to allow the love that I am, the love that God is, to flow through me in ever greater ways. And in a way, as I look back over the years, and as I look back, not even over the years, but only this year, so much has happened within me. This longing, it's a calling. And I truly believe that as we allow for the greater and the grander expressions of who and what we are, as we do the healing work, as we release and let go of the small and the limited, of the ego. And when I say let go of, I'm not saying that we are to silence the ego totally, because the ego is always going to be there. But we learn, and I have learned, to less and less heed the ego, to less and less be run by opinions and thoughts as to what should and should not be. I don't know when Dr. Thurman wrote this text. But even today, it is still valid. And perhaps it's even more valid today than ever. Because there is so much going on in this world, on this planet. There's so many people that are living in pain and suffering, that are living in war zones, that are not safe and secure, that do not have enough food to eat, that do not have clean water to drink. There are so many people who are in need of being loved. And I am not saying, when we're speaking about love, we're not speaking about that romantic feeling that we see in the movies, where someone says, "You complete me," or "I cannot live without you." That is not love. But love is the full and free giving, the total giving of what we have to give, total giving and sharing of what we have to give. That is love. Giving without agenda, giving without withhold, giving without asking for anything back, giving of our time or our attention, our smiles, our prayers, sometimes financial needs or means. But that is love. To love your neighbor as thyself. The thing is, I think that, or I don't think, I know that we need to start with loving ourselves. Unless we love ourselves, we will not have love to give to anyone else, because we can only give what we have. And if we have not love in our hearts, if we have lack and limitation, if we have a sense of separation in our hearts, if we run by the egoic mantra, "I am not enough, there is not enough," if that is our perception of life, if that is how we approach life, we will not have love to give to someone else. But love is wanting the very best that we want for ourselves, we want for others. And if and when we can inspire, empower, uplift, move, touch them, we are to do so. It's like Reverend Michael says, we pray because we can pray, we must. Because we can love, we must. Because of all these people that are not in the space for various reasons, that they can pray, that they can give, that they can share. We must, for all of them. We must. Because love is ours to give. God is, I am infinite love. God is, you are infinite love. Love is within us, just like wholeness is within us. Love is within us. And we are to express that love. Love, in a way, is expressing love is like using numbers in mathematics. We use the number 2. And it doesn't matter how many times I use the number 2. It doesn't take away anything from mathematics. It does not limit my access to the number 2. And this is true with love. This is true for love. This is true of love. It is infinite. And the only reason why we may be holding back, the only reason I am holding back and have held back, is because I didn't realize that it was infinite. I didn't realize that I stood nothing to gain by withholding. But I thought that, and this is the ego, of course, that seeks to protect the sense of me, the sense of I, the sense of mine. But there is no me, there is no I, there is no mine, there is only God, there is only spirit, there is only love. And we are here to express it. We are here to give and share what we can give and share. And like we talked about, was it last week or a couple of weeks ago? What is mine to do? That beautiful question. What is mine to do? And as we ask that question, like here in Sweden, for example, since a couple of years back, outside of every grocery store, almost every grocery store, sits a person, a poor person, asking for money. And every time I go into the store, I cast a silent blessing to them, for them. I am holding them in a high consciousness of wholeness and abundance. And this is a way of giving, and this is a way of loving, lifting them up, holding them in a high space of wholeness, of peace, of harmony, of abundance. This is a way of expressing love. And I'm not doing it to get anything back, but I'm doing it ultimately because I can, but even more so because it makes me feel very good. It makes me feel very, very good to be able to give something, even though I'm not giving them money. That's a whole nother discussion. I'm not going to go into it. That's why I'm not giving money. But I can hold them in the high consciousness, in the high vibration of wholeness. I can name them abundant. I can claim wholeness for them. They may not know how to do it for themselves, but I can do it. I can bless them, I can pray for them. And this is a high form of love. It's been a long time since someone, like in the text, it's been a long time since someone attacked me in any way. There was this guy before Christmas. We came into an intersection almost at the same time. I came into the intersection a little bit ahead of him, and so I took off ahead of him. But he thought that apparently that he should be the one to go first, so he flipped me off. And in that moment, rather than flipping him off and calling him a bunch of names, I prayed for him. I prayed for his soul. I prayed that he would be lifted up out of his ignorance or lack of understanding. And this is love. compassion. Let's talk a little bit about compassion, because compassion is a high state of love, a high form of love. And compassion literally is the understanding of lack of understanding. And this relates very much to the text by Dr. Thurman, where he said that when he's being attacked, he wants to not retort or attack back or retaliate, but he wants to be loving. And I think that's, for me, how this love, even though it's who I am, it's inherent within me, but it's taken me a period of time to discover and to realize and to cultivate. No, not cultivate, but to call forth. And it has come, and I'm I'm obviously not a saint, but there are moments and there are days when I am not a vehicle for love, where I'm not a channel for love. But when I do get snagged by the ego and there are thoughts running through me that I get caught up by as to how I would like to strike back. So just to make that clear, I'm no Jesus. But the work that I have done to get to where I am today, that I actually can bless someone who flips me off and calls me a lot of names. I didn't hear what he said, but I could see that he was saying something. And judging by by the look on his face, he was not sweet talking me, but he called me whatever. But for me, the work that I have done to get to that place and to get to that space has been a lot of work with compassion, with understanding what compassion is. And as I said, compassion is the understanding of lack of understanding. So whenever we shout, or whenever we call names, or whenever we get into a reaction, an egoic reaction of wanting to hurt someone verbally or physically or mentally or emotionally, of wanting to diminish someone, to not lift up but press down or push down, where we perceive another as inferior and ourselves as superior. That is lack of understanding that we're all one and the same. That is lack of understanding that we need not react in this way. We stand nothing to gain by reacting in this way. Sure, the ego believes that we do. Absolutely, the ego sees a benefit in trying to convince us that we are superior and that another is inferior, or vice versa, actually. So that is lack of understanding. And when faced with lack of understanding, when faced with another acting out towards us, we need to realize that one, and we're moving into a little bit of forgiveness here. We need to realize that one, whenever they are acting out of ignorance or lack of understanding, it has nothing to do with us. Nothing whatsoever. But it's all their stuff. We have maybe been the trigger of all that stuff. But whatever they are going through has nothing to do with us. So we need not take it personally. That's one thing we need to realize. And then another thing we need to realize is that we stand nothing to gain by reacting back, by striking back. Because all it does is toss us into an emotional turmoil where toxic chemicals are produced in our bodies that speeds up the aging process, that decreases the immune system, that they are toxic. And also, if the other is reacting and we are reacting, I mean, where's that going to lead us? Other than a fist fight, perhaps. But realizing that it is ignorance or the lack of understanding that speaks through them. It is not their true nature, it's not their essence, it's not their divine being that are saying all these things, that are shouting, screaming, perhaps throwing things, perhaps breaking things, threatening, whatever. It is not the divinity within them that is acting out, but it's the ignorance, the lack of understanding that is acting out. And as we begin to realize this, and as I began to realize this, it became easier and easier and easier for me to not react back, but I could actually respond with kindness and love and compassion. And afterwards, I may have to do some forgiveness work to release and let go of negativity and things that have been triggered within me. But that's afterwards. So what I think I'm going to do is that I think I'm going to read the text over once again. And as I read, I invite us all to pay close attention to inspired ideas that we catch, to inspiration. Inspiration to act in another way, inspiration as to how we can expand our love, inspiration as to how we can become more loving in our hearts, regardless of what we face, regardless of another, what they did, what they do, what they didn't do, what they do not do. So I'm going to read the text over again. And I invite you to just listen. I want to be more loving in my heart. Often there are good and sufficient reasons for exercising what seems to be a clear, direct resentment. Again and again, I find it hard to hold in check the sharp retort, the biting comeback when it seems that someone has done violence to my self-respect and decent regard. How natural it seems to give as good as I get, to take nothing lying down, to announce to all and sundry in 1,000 ways that no one can run over me and get away with it. All this is a part of the thicket in which my heart gets caught again and again. Deep within me, I want to be more loving, to glow with a warmth that will take the chill off the room which I share with those whose lives touch mine in the traffic of my goings and comings. I want to be more loving. I want to be more loving in my heart. It is often easy to have the idea in mind, the plan to be more loving, to see it with my mind and give assent to the thought of being loving. This is crystal clear. But I want to be more loving in my heart. I must feel like loving. I must ease the tension in my heart that ejects the sharp barb, the stinging word. I want to be more loving in my heart, that with unconscious awareness and deliberate intent, I shall be kind. I shall be a gracious human being. Thus, those who walk the way with me may find it easier to love, to be gracious because of the love of God, which is increasingly expressing in my life. I want to be more loving in my heart. So let's just sit with this for a moment. And let us ask ourselves, how can we be more loving? In this moment, how can we be more loving? Toward whom can we express more love? In which way can we express more love? How can we become increasing channels and conduits and vehicles and emissaries for the love that is everywhere to flow through us, to flow into this world? How can we be more loving? How can we be more loving? I think we are coming to a close. This little exercise that we just did, or contemplation that we just did, will be instead of the intention. So the question that I invite you, and I invite myself, obviously, the question that I invite us all to carry with us for this week is, how can I be more loving? And as always, when it comes to inspiration, when it comes to insights, when it comes to guidance, we need to give it permission to move us into action. So whatever we catch, whatever you catch, whatever I catch, as we ask that question, I invite us all to act on it, to put it into action, so that we're not just theorizing or intellectualizing, but we're actually being transformed by the guidance that we catch, by the insights. and revelations that we receive. So I'm going to bless us out, and I'm going to bless us out. So how good it feels, how grateful I am for the love that flows through all of us, that is in all of us, that is who we are. How grateful I am for this episode and the way it moved me, for the way it inspired me to allow for greater and grander versions of who and what I am to emerge. How grateful I am for this space that has been created, this space of love, this field of love, this vibration of love that has been created in this episode. How grateful I am for your participation, for your courage, for your willingness to walk the path of healing, of unfolding, for your willingness to release and let go the small and the limited, that which no longer serves you, that the new and expanded may emerge. I'm grateful for you. I thank you. And I'm grateful for all of those who have gone before me, who have gone before us, leading the way, pointing us in the right direction. All the luminaries, all the sages, all the wise ones, who have opened their hearts to love, who have dedicated their lives to love. I'm grateful for them. I know that something wonderful has happened during this episode. That right where we are, we're now more open and available for wholeness to flow through us, for peace to flow through us, for harmony to flow through us, for joy to flow through us, for love to flow through us. We're now increasingly open and available for spirit to express itself in us and through us in a magnificent way, in a beautiful way, in a loving way. Something has been shed during this episode. Something has been released during this episode. That the greater and the grander may emerge. I know it, I accept it, I give thanks for it, I allow it to be. All is well, peace be still. All is well, peace be still. So it is, so be it. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. So thank you once again. Until the next time, I bless your day and I bless your way. Namaste. You have been listening to an episode of the Path to Freedom podcast with me, Daniel Roqueo. I invite you to stay tuned for more episodes. If you have any questions or comments or just want to get more inspiration and empowerment, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. I also invite you to visit my website, danielroqueo.com. I bless your day and I bless your way, you beautiful, wonderful being.